Hello, YouTube, and welcome to episode 1 of our 2021-2022 Fantasy Premier League review, previews. I probably should have done an episode building my team, but what I'm going to do is this is going to be Game Week 1 review and Game Week 2 preview in one episode, but I do want to do a bit of an episode away from the podcast, just talking through what my team looks like and what my thoughts are and sort of where I'm sitting in the world, and sort of talk through some transfer opportunities for the team moving forward. There's probably going to be it's going to be a pretty short episode, I think, just sort of talking through some of my choices with the team, and then sort of where the team's sitting going into Game Week 2, and then some of the discussion I've got around my captain. But I've got an interesting team here. So you can see we've got Emi Martinez, we've got Trent, Luke Shaw, Digne. Brownhill was the sub, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. Salah, Fernandez, I went with them because it was just too much not to use them. I think they were just too tempting in the end of the day. It was just consistent points, both penalty goal scorers or penalty takers, I should say, for big clubs that are probably going to win penalties. I captained Salah. After the Saturday night early kickoff with Bruno, I thought, oh God, if I made a mistake here, Salah getting 17 is probably more than enough. Then Banarama was my sort of wildie card type pick as a midfielder, obviously playing as an attacking midfielder in a free-flowing West Ham team. He came up with the goods, obviously scoring his goal, getting an assist and the bonus with 12 points. Ivan Toney, for as good as he was against Arsenal, he came up short for Fantasy Premier League, but I've got no problem with Ivan Toney with Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Brighton and Wolves before a hard run of fixtures where I'll probably move him on. No problem whatsoever. I think the goals will come. And then Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, he played 90 minutes, which is what people didn't think he was going to do, and he got his goal. And I was bouncing when I saw Richarlison streaming down the right wing, putting a cross into a diving Calvert-Lewin. So the team got 98 points. Ben Chilwell was on the field, but I had Brownhill stupidly as the first sub instead of Kostas Tsimikas. So if we had Tsimikas on, we would have picked up an extra 5 points. It would have been at 103. We're in a couple leagues I want to talk about. So in the Stadium League, we played Berger, who got 86 points. So we got a win comfortably there. And if I just made my right move, only Luca had more points than I did. So the table, if I can show you the standings, is we sit in third just based on our score, which is quite nice. The average is sitting in sixth because the average got a win over somebody. I didn't actually see who the average beat. We're matches. The average beat Gasheads only by 3 points, which wasn't by a whole lot. But the focus of today is the team moving forward. So I'm still backing the 4-3-3. So this has been the reason I've built the team was this way, was because I wanted this back four. I wanted Trent, Chilwell, Shaw, Digne and Martinez early. So what I've done is the first 3 match weeks, I saw, obviously at Watford, thinking Villa would dominate. I saw those first 3 games and 2 of them at home with Newcastle and Brentford. So the plan was get Martinez in, and then from game week 4 onwards, you just have to wear that Leicester fixture, and then pretty much Brentford, Leicester, Palace, Arsenal and Norwich, I'm going to ride Sanchez. So Tony's probably going to go to the bench during a couple of those fixtures, obviously when the goalkeepers they're versing him. But I've also learnt from my mistake a little bit. It put Tsimikas on the bench as a number 1 sub, especially against Burnley, in case Ben Chilwell doesn't play. So I do have a transfer up my sleeve, but I don't want to use it just yet. So we do have only one. If I had 2 transfers, I'd do it this week. I'd get rid of Ben Chilwell, and my thought process would be Ben Chilwell down to like a pinnock, because I can sort of rely on Villa, Brighton, Wolves, and then move probably Basuma up to a Mason Greenwood. So in order to do that, I need to make 3 mil. I think where's Mason Greenwood at? He's at 7.5, so I've got to make 3. So I can't really make 3 mil. Other than that, there might be. I don't really want to go after Sergi Canos. There's a couple other options that we could probably look at, but I'm pretty set at the moment on the team. So the other big factor this week is the captain decision. So I've got Mo Salah and Bruno Fernandes that I really need to consider who's going to be the captain, and I'm leaning towards Mo Salah. So although he doesn't play well typically against Burnley at home, or in the past I should say, not at home, I think this is a different era for Liverpool. So I think for him, he is the main man. I'm really backing him in here. I'm going to leave the captain on him. I'm not saying that Bruno's not a fantastic option, and I can definitely understand why people will back Bruno as their captain this week. But for me, I'm backing Mo Salah 100%. The other big thing I need to consider is probably Tsimikas starting with Trent here. And, against Leeds for Everton, it's an interesting fixture. I'm going to probably leave Digne just for those set pieces, I think. I think the game's going to be open. I'm hoping that Digne can exploit those spaces a bit better than Luke Shaw did. So I felt last week Paul Pogba managed to drift inside quite a lot from the left wing, and it created a lot of space for Luke Shaw. But Shaw didn't really look like taking advantage of it, and it's probably more so because of his involvement in the Euros. So I'm hoping that Digne can prove me right and get down that byline and whip some crosses in towards Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, so that I can sort of benefit from that play, that link up down the left-hand side. That's where my thought process is. Bannerama versus Leicester worries me a little bit, but then the Palace, Southampton, sort of Leeds, Brentford, Everton, that run for West Ham is pretty solid, so I'm happy enough to ride Bannerama this week. Moving forward, obviously the same sort of issues, not issues, but the same sort of concerns come up with Everton, but I think as strikers in Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, there should be opportunities for them to exploit Leeds this weekend. So I'm really excited to see if their link-up play will be as good as it was at the last weekend. But our boy Ivan Toney now, Crystal Palace shipped big goals and big chances against Chelsea. This is at Selhurst Park. They'll be bouncing. I'm expecting a lot of link-up play between Ivan Toney and Brian Mbeumo. So I think that's going to be the key, and he might be able to get a couple flick-ons and try and find some space in behind the Crystal Palace defence, which might lead to some more points. I'm hoping that maybe a bit more interplay with Sergio Canos out wide might allow Brentford to put some more balls into the box. If they can get balls into the box, then I've got all the faith in the world that Ivan Toney can get on the end of them. So that's sort of the justification on why I'm not using any transfers this week. I just want another week of data and just to see where the teams are at, the players are at. Our overall rank's 510,000. Don't need to take too much into account there. Of 7.2 million players, we're in 500,000. We're doing all right. In most of my main leagues, we're doing all right. So this is a big league with a lot of my friends. We're only 2 points off top, which is nice. In the we don't have a Stadium Classic one. I thought we did. Doesn't matter. We've got our head-to-head stadium, which is important for us. I will quickly go over my draft week with you guys as well, which wasn't great, but we got the job done. So I want to see what's happened here. So what transactions, free agency is now open. So we can actually see if we want any of these players. And no one really jumps out to me. We did get the win. We'll go to our points from last week. So we got 37. I am holding on to Robertson. And we do have Tsimikas as that other option, but no one really got going for me. So Tony, Bamford obviously both blanked. Trossard looked good and then got taken off. Bannerama was the only guy that really got me any points. Pickford obviously conceded that one dumb goal to Southampton, which was disappointing. Traore did come on and get an assist, which saved him. Ayling would have been nice. Obviously the goal scored helped him big time, but for me, I've made one change. I've brought in Pulisic, and I've got to make a decision here. It's Ayling or Soufal, and I'm thinking my justification is I think Leeds have a better chance at getting at Everton compared to West Ham getting at Leicester. That's sort of the way I'm leaning. Obviously, I don't have much leeway with my goalkeepers. I'm sort of playing the long game with Areola because I think by the end of the season, he will be the starting goalkeeper for Fulham. But we've got to let Fabianski ride at the moment. We've got Tony and Bamford, who I'm really banking on them getting goals. Watford looked good last week, but I'm hoping that Brighton will be able to play their brand of football. Obviously, Zaha and Tony in this game, I'm just hoping for goals. I'm hoping for Zaha to look a lot better than he did last week. Tony just needs to get on the score sheet. Pulisic looked really good to me. He played 81 minutes, got his goal, kept the clean sheet, got his bonus. He just looked good. I think I'm a bit nervous to see how Chelsea line up. He might be on the bench, you never know, but I'm prepared to take that risk because with the free agents, there's not really any midfielders that sort of jump out. So we'll go midfielders. There's Doucouré, there's Westwood, there's Fred, there's Murphy, who played as a wing back, so he's definitely going to help us. There's Bergwijn, Townsend, Cleverly. These are the guys now that we're talking about that just played. So I'm more than prepared to say take that risk with Pulisic over anything else. So there's nothing in the proposed, no one in my watch list. I'm just trying to see. There's no way to see the transaction history is there, which is a bit annoying. I feel like you should be able to see who people have picked up and dropped because that doesn't really make much sense. That's our draft room. Is there a way to see? I don't think there is, which I don't rate. There should be a way that you can see the transfer history. But anyway, what we'll do... How's it not here? That just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's jump back to fantasy. So for game week 2, this is sort of the team that I feel settled on, I think. So it's Martinez, Trent, Chilwell, Shaw, Digne, Bannerama, Fernandez, Salah, Richarlison, Tony, Calvert-Lewin, the captain on Mo Salah with no transfers this week. So get in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think of my team. Are we going to be in a good position in the Stadium League? So this is my Discord league. In Game Week 2, I versed Damo, who is my co-host for the PD Sports podcast. Now, his Game Week 1 team, he captained Salah, he had Bruno, he got a goal each from his 2 strikers in Wilson Ings. He's running the extra midfielder. So his extra midfielder is Rafinha. So against Everton, he sort of has that contradictory issue. I personally think he's going to find a way to fit Armstrong in potentially against Man United. He might not. He might keep it 4-4-2. So this is going to be a really interesting battle, and you're going to see who the victor is early next week when we do our review and our sort of preview for Game Week 3. So I hope you've enjoyed sort of episode 1, which is our Game Week 1 review, Game Week 2 preview. I'm probably going to do all the episodes like this because I think it gives us a little bit more to talk about, makes them a bit more enjoyable. I can sort of show you how the team went, and then I can talk to you about what my thoughts are for next week. So if you like this episode, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you share it around to get the exposure out there, and I hope to see you in the next one.